And welcome to the final episode of the Resourceful Child series. We apologize for starting late. Mommy duties. It wasn't network, it was nothing. It was mommy duties. Had to go get someone, and of course, we got here a bit late because mommy had to be on duty. We apologize. How are you doing this beautiful evening? Welcome to the last episode of our Resourceful Child series. We have been sharing in the last 2 weeks how we can raise children who are resourceful. Right. It is so important in this age and time that whatever you do to your child, or whatever you do as a parent or someone who supports young children, you want to ensure that you raise young children who are resourceful. Now, the question is, at what point do I begin to teach my child to be resourceful? And we say as young as possible. Children who learn to be responsible, children who are accountable, children who have consistency, children who are raised in an environment where there is structure, children who are raised in an environment where there are expectations, kind expectations, children who are raised in an environment where there is love and, of course, safety, children who are raised in environments where there is accountability will turn out. I did not say may turn out. I say would turn out to be children who are resourceful. Children who are raised this way will become skilled eventually. And skilled people are usually resourceful people. My name is Maribel Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM Resources. And yes, I am the super proud mentor of the Mastermind Circle. Yes, a peer mentorship and accountability group that we run for young children because we want to raise young children who are skilled. We want to raise young children who are responsible. We want to raise young children who are self-aware, young children who can take initiative, young children who understand the role that they play in their own lives, young children who will become teenagers who are resourceful. And that is what this series is about, raising your young children to become teenagers who are resourceful. If you are like me, then you don't want to raise teenagers that you will be running around kitty 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 up and down. You want to raise teenagers who know how to navigate. You want to raise teenagers who understand empathy. More than anything, you want to raise teenagers whose ears can listen to instructions. I was in a session the other day with my mentor, Coach Wendy, and she was saying, raise children who have ears for instructions, dear parents. Raise children who have ears for instructions. The moment you have been able to raise your child to become a teenager who listens, half your problems are solved. Is it your problem? Half your worries as a parent is solved, because now you have a child whose heart and whose ears you have. What we do a lot of the times is we raise our young children. We raise young children without putting our feet on the ground. We raise young children without connecting with them. We raise young children who are not skilled. We raise young children who do not know how to navigate and who are not responsible. And because they are not responsible, a time will come in their life where you cannot do anything for them anymore. A time will come in their life where you expect them to be responsible, or you have certain expectations of them. And at that point, the frictions begin because you didn't give them the chance to become those responsible people when they were young children. You didn't give them the chance to build those skills. Then all of a sudden, you have a 16, 17, 18-year-old child, and you expect certain things from the child, as the parent, and the child know they see you because you did not raise the child to see you. Now that becomes a problem, and then you hear parents, oh, children are the most ungrateful people in the world. After everything I did for you, you cannot listen to me. After everything I did for you, you cannot do the same for me. No, you didn't raise them to do, you raised them to take. And so because they've been raised to be people who take all the time, because they've been raised to become entitled, at what point will an entitled person now think of you first before they think of themselves? So no, parents, most of the times entitled children are not born. Entitled children are raised by the very same people who are expecting certain things from them. No, you didn't raise them to give, you raised them to take. So they will take until they finish taking even you. They will take from you and leave you dry because you have raised them to take. All right, so the conversation today is about raising or identifying collaborators while you are raising your children, identifying people that you can collaborate with you on the journey to helping your child become. Are you raising a child that you want to become? Are you raising a child that you want to be resourceful? Are you raising a child that you want to navigate the world on their own? You cannot do this alone. I always like to say your room, your house, I don't care how big your compound is, I don't care how big or how high your gate is, I don't care, literally and figuratively speaking, I don't care how big your house is, it is not enough to raise a global citizen. It is not enough to raise a child who is a citizen of the world. It is not enough to raise a child that would impact the world. It's not enough to raise a child that will live their purpose, not just for your household, but for the world as a whole. You need collaborators. You need people who will work with you. You need people who will support you. You need people whose voices would mean something, whose voices your child's ears is tuned to. Because the truth about it, your child will listen to somebody sometime. The question is, who will they be listening to? They could be listening to people on Instagram. They could be listening to that pair in their class who is bold, probably bold from the streets, bold because they've been abused, bold because they've been exposed, bold because they come from homes where there are no boundaries, bold because they don't care about how anybody feels. They speak what they want to speak at any time and anyhow they like. For young people, those are the people that they are endeared to. Those are the people that they look up to. I mean, how can you be this young and you can do as you like? Because for a young child, at that point, freedom feels like seeing the world, right? They do not understand yet that freedom is responsibility. So when they see their friends at 13 and 14 that can be online till 2 a.m. in the morning, while in your house, you cannot even allow them touch gadgets, they begin to think that that other person who has that free will and no boundaries is privileged. They begin to think that that is the person that is enjoying life and they are suffering in your house. So they usually are attracted or endeared to those kind of people because they seem to have what they don't have. The truth is, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years later, they will thank you for the boundaries that you created for them. We love to say, I always say it, that every child is silently seeking for boundaries. If that boundary can be given in love, if that boundary can be given in safety, if that boundary can be given without stifling the child and stopping the child from becoming the best version of themselves or allowing the child to express themselves. So we want as parents to create environments where our children are safe, where our children feel seen, feel heard, and they can express themselves within certain boundaries. I like the way Dr. Additional puts it. He says, in a family, we should be able to allow everybody be their authentic self within the values of the family. So each of your children can find who they are, can find their own unique values and their own uniqueness right within the boundaries of the values of your home. So, meaning in our families, we should have common boundaries. And within those common boundaries or common values, and within those common values, our children should be able to find their individuality. And that's what we are talking about. So let's look at some of the collaborators that you need. I'll be telling some stories while we are at it. We have about 25 minutes to 30 minutes to be here. All right. If you have a friend who needs to be here, why don't you invite them to be here right now? If you have a brother or sister who needs to hear this, why don't you go ahead and send them a link right now? And if you're watching us on your YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and you have not subscribed, why not? Why don't you click the subscription button and be a part of our YouTube community, so that every time we come live, you get a notification and you can be a part of our experience here. All right. So when our son was 6 years old, we started having a conversation and we asked him, what he thinks he can do to impact the next person. Because as a family, part of our core value is impact. We raise our children to be impactful, meaning we make them understand that the knowledge that you have, the wisdom that you have, the talent that you have, the gift that you have is not for you. Good thing. I mean, it's so beautiful how God created us. So God created us in a way that every good thing that God has put inside us, is not even seen as good until it is affecting the next person, right? So you sing so beautifully. It is when you sing and other people can listen and enjoy it that the value that you bring comes to life, right? When you lie in your toilet and you shout and sing to yourself, the world doesn't know you for it. You are not appreciated for it. The only time you become appreciated for it is when you're ministering, probably in church, or you are singing in an orchestra or something like that, or you are a musician and you are singing and all of that. So basically, every gift that you have is meant for the next person. I mean, it's meant for you to be a blessing to others. What does that tell us as people? That God actually created us to be a blessing to the world, right? So your purpose is tied in you being able to bless other people. So that's why we must raise children and help them understand the place of impact, and knowing that, yes, everything that you are giving, everything that you are becoming, everything that you will be is so that you can be a blessing to your neighbor, to the next person. No wonder even the scripture tells us that the most important commandment is love God with all of your heart, with all of your might, and with all of your strength. And the next one didn't say love yourself. It says love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. So look at that. Meaning at every point, impact is not a choice. Impact is a giving. Impact is an instruction, right? Impact is a divine instruction from God. So why are we raising children and we are not teaching them? Why is the focus always money? Money. When we want to send our children in school, we want to send them to school so that they can make money, We want them to get jobs. So it's most times it's money. No, why? I mean, it's about time that we begin to change the narrative. Let our children understand the place of impact. So if your lingua in your home, if your conversation in your home is not centered around impact, if your conversation is not centered around impact, when you're talking with your children about success, when you're talking to your children about the future, if the conversation is not centered around impact, then you need to go back to the drawing table and begin to change the narrative. Let children know that they were born to impact the world. Let your children know that they were born to make a difference in the world. Let them know that it is a taboo to leave this world without leaving your name in the sands of time. It is a taboo to leave this world without leaving something that is attributed to you, that the world will say, there was a Mary Beth. That is what I live for. That the world will say, there was a Kamsi, there was an Adachuku, that is the goal. All right. So as parents, this should be our goal, that we want to raise children who will create impact that the world would not forget. I mean, look at us. We talk about Thomas Edison. We talk about Wright brothers. We talk about all of these amazing people. That's because they created impact that the world cannot ignore. Generations after generations after generations will call them blessed. Generations after generations will talk about the impact that they made in the world. So it's about time we begin to raise children with this narrative. Okay, so who are the people you should be collaborating if you want to do this? So we asked our 6-year-old son at the time, I mean, what he thinks he knows how to do or he loves to do, and then what it is that he has that he thinks that he can use to bless the world. And that's the whole idea. They don't have to start being a blessing to the world when they are 30. No, they do not have to, gentle. They do not have to bless the world when they are 50. Impact begins today. Impact begins with one person. Impact begins with the little effort that you make towards being a blessing to the next person. And so he said to us, I think I love science very much. And yes, I could teach my friends science. Okay. When he said he loves science, I'm like, so what can you do with it? Science right now to be a blessing to the next person? And it's like, some of my friends do not understand science that much. I could teach them. I'm like, voila, that's it. And so our son at that time will go to school, and then after a class, he will ask his friend, did you understand? Should I explain it to you? And so he's explaining to his friends, And then the next thing, he moved the notch. And that's the thing. That is the thing about, when we decide to intentionally do something good, it just begins to increase and enlarge. That's it. How they say that what you call it? They say that the universe conspires with you. The moment you decide to do something, it's like when the scripture says that you should seek and you will find, right? Good. So when you decide to do something, somehow the universe begins to conspire with you, and you will see opportunities will come, it will increase, you will meet other people who are like you just because you started, just because you made the effort. And so from there, he started forming reading groups. So I would go to school to pick him up, and they would tell me he's not in class. I should look for him somewhere by the swing. And you see him with 3, 4 of his classmates. They are sitting down there and they are discussing one subject or the other. They call it study groups, that time. And then when COVID came and everybody had to be at home, right? Basically, it now moved from gathering together. Moment schools were, funny enough, our children's school started online instructions even before the COVID. But basically at that point, you see them forming study groups. So you see them online, like you're passing his room and he's there with a bunch of his classmates in Google Classroom or one other, platform, and they're studying for an exam or studying, and all of that. And so it became a way, with him, that every time there's an assessment, every time there's an exam and all of that, he comes and he's like, okay, my study group, and they are studying together. Now, by the time our son was 7 going on 8, we introduced mentorship, right? Because we understood that we couldn't do it on our own, right? So we introduced mentorship to him, and he got his very first mentor when he was 7 going on 8, right? Somewhere around there. And in this conversation with his mentor, right, they came around to talking about, the fact that he likes to impact people, his friends and all of that. And the mentor was like, oh, great, you can even do this as a higher skill. And she said to him, how about YouTube? You could teach science on YouTube. I knew nothing about getting a random person on YouTube. I have never thought of making videos and putting on YouTube. I wasn't online at the time. This was somewhere around, I wasn't online anyway at the time. And so she's like, YouTube. And then she now gives him an assignment and says, they were reading Fela Durotoye's 17 Secrets of High Flying Students at the time. And that was the first real fiction book that my son, non-fiction book that my son read. He read that book with his mentor, and he will analyze the book. I'll be in the kitchen. I'm like, oh yeah? Like, I'm listening to them. At the time, no, he just read science books and read about animals and the cars. And of course, our bedtime stories and all of those others, fiction books that he has started reading. But non-fiction, like real serious book, That was the first time he was reading one, and he read it with his full chest. Like, really, really, that book was written by Fela Durotoye. And so they will have that conversation. And then he started, so she gave him the assignment 1 week to go and start a YouTube channel. Come and see me and my son looking for how to start YouTube channel. So we had to Google how to start a YouTube channel, and all of that. And we started the YouTube channel, and he called it Come See My Science, My World. And so he started teaching science on that YouTube channel. He started teaching science on that YouTube channel because we had linked him to someone else whose ears, whose voice meant something to his ears. Now, if you're raising a child and you are not training their ears to listen to the right people, you will raise children who are lost, or you will raise children who do not know how to filter where they should get knowledge or information from. You will raise children who will listen to anybody at all. So, as a parent, it is your duty to train your child's ears for the kind of people that they should listen to. And so when we introduced him to mentorship, we were saying to him, this is one of the kind of people that you should listen to. So at no point in the life of our children would they not have a mentor. At no point, if you call any of our children today and you ask them, who is your mentor? They will tell you. Because who is a mentor? A mentor is that person that is there by your side, not directly telling you everything to do, but listening to you, creating a springboard for you because they've been there and done that. The mentor is that person that is looking out for you. The mentor is that person that taps you and says, that way you're going, are you sure that it's the right way? How about trying this other way? That mentor is that person that is right there, that when you fall is able to say to you, sorry, give me a second. 1 second, please. All right, when you're mommy and you are at home, you will call out people. All right, so let's move on. So, and that's it. So we train his ears to listen to his mentors. So, dear parents, you are raising a child. You want to raise a child who is resourceful, then you have to train them to listen to mentors. So if you do not have mentors in the life of your children, why? It's about time. Get people that your child, trusted adults that your child can listen to. Get trusted adults around your life that your child can listen to. Very important, very critical. All right. Now, who are the next people that you want to listen to? I'll tell you another story. When our son was in year 2, okay, no, before then, even when our son was somewhere around 5, thereabouts, every time he comes home, and he does something, let's say we're watching TV. So he's always had an affiliation, to cars. His dad loves cars, cars and how they work, car engines and all of that. So daddy used to watch a lot of, what's that thing with Jeremy? There's Top Gear. So daddy will watch Top Gear, and he will sit down and watch Top Gear with daddy, and all of that, and he will talk about it and all. And then while they are talking, you will hear him say, Mr. Tesso needs to hear this. I'm going to tell Mr. Tesso. All right. So Mr. Tesso was his science teacher at the time. And so I guess that's why science was his big thing too, because Mr. Tesso was a good influence, right? So every time our son discovers something new, he says, Mr. Tesso needs to hear this. Every time he finds out something, he says, I'm going to tell Mr. Tesso about it. So of course, we took that in and we recognized that there is something in Mr. Tesso that our son connects to. There's something about Mr. Tesso that our son connects to. And so what? Automatically, I looked for Mr. Tesso and made Mr. Tesso our teacher buddy, because Mr. Tesso was a positive influence in our son's life. Every time he thought of he needed to be proud of himself. He thought Mr. Cecil was someone that would Mr. Cecil was someone that would be proud of something that he did. Now, this is not about making your child someone who seeks validation. This is recognizing the person that your child looks up to. This is recognizing the person that possibly is an encouraging person, or that is a source of encouragement for your child. So you want to identify people like this, people that your child connect with, people that your child respects, people that they listen to, and you want to make sure. So you are finding these people and connecting with these people for two reasons. You want to make sure that your child is connecting with this person for the right reason. You want to get to the bottom of it and see why this person stands as an influence in the life of your child. You want to see what about this person is influencing your child, because for your child, this could be Naira Marley or any pop star, or someone who says people should wear their belt under their waist. Could be someone who lives with her body outside and her clothes inside. It could be any kind of person that could be this influence in your child's life. So you want to pay attention to who that person is that your child looks up to in that way, so that you are sure that this person is a person whose values, whose mindset, whose convictions, okay, or whatever it is that your child is looking up to, is something that connects or that resembles anything that is like who you are. So, meaning you should know, first of all, what your own convictions are, what your own values are, and your children should know it, so that they're able to recognize when they see people who are like you, quote and unquote. And so that's how we got, to know, got to know Mr. Tesso, and of course, created a relationship with Mr. Tesso, because Mr. Tesso was a positive influence in our son's life. So, who is that teacher? There is usually that one teacher. Okay, there could be, most times there is. I remember when I was actively in the classroom also, I used to have this child. I didn't even know at that time. The child was not diagnosed yet, right? But he was pretty active, and very up a lot. Very active, basically. I had met the child when he was in year one, and he took a liking to me, and all that. I was a teaching assistant at the time. And so I would support him. I paid attention a lot to him. I would joke with him. I would play with him and all that. I didn't know that the child connected, as in, if this meant so much to the child. I didn't know this meant so much to the child until we moved. I was moved to another class, and then, of course, by the time they graduated, rather, to the next class, this child would come look for me every day. Like every break time, he would stop by at my class before he goes to play. So I didn't realize how much of an impact I had created in the life of that child, right? Until we got to year three again, and I was his teacher this time. And of course, when I left year three, he moved on to year four. It continued. And I realized, now in the case of this child, the parents didn't even know or recognize, or probably, the parents is not like me, or this didn't mean too much to the parents until year four. It was now in year four that, the mom would look for me even after the child had left. I guess she recognized that it was something between this teacher and my child. At that time, it had been like 3 years that this child had been that connected, to me. So yes, dear parents, you want to recognize that teacher in your child's life. Very important, very, very, very important. All right, the next people who are a support system, or the next people who can be collaborators in your child's life, are family members that your child or children could take a liking to. All right, so now this one could be something that happens naturally, or this one could be something that you can actually orchestrate strategically. Now, you could have that brother, that sister, that aunt, that uncle, that person that can be a good influence in your child's life. Now, apart from that, you also want to position people in your children's life that when you are not there, You have built a connection, a support system with this person, that your child has someone to turn to even when you are not there. For whatever reason, there are so many reasons that you may not be there as a parent. Right, so many reasons, including death, the one we don't like to talk about. But we will all die now. We will not go die. All right. So the truth about it is, at you may not always be there. You could be out of town, you could be away, there could be an emergency, and you're not being, they can't reach you. It could be anything. So you want to position that person in your child's life. Could be a family member. A lot of the times, if you can get a family member who can be that person in your child's life, then you are blessed. But you need to make sure that this family member is someone who really aligns with your values. Because the fact that you are blood relatives does not necessarily mean that you share the same values or you share the same mindset. It is what it is. All right. But if you're lucky to have that family member that shares all of this, then you want to create intentionally that connection between your child and that family member, so that the child sees that family member. They develop or build a trusted relationship with this family member, and you know that the child is always welcomed in their life and they are always in your child's corner. Very important. So you can strategically place that person in the child's life, or you can just pay attention and recognize that family member that your child is connected to or your child feels drawn to. And if this family member fits this position, you can even program, or get that family member, and get them into that space yourself. All right. And that can be by, if you're someone who is learning, for instance, you're learning in an academy like the Intentional Parent Academy, you can introduce and bring that family member into that circle also, so that they are learning the same kind of things that you are learning. As they are learning, it means that you are aligning, you're becoming more aligned in your thought system, in your convictions, in your mindset, in the knowledge you have of parenting and all of that. So meaning, when you are not there, you can trust that someone who believes in the same things that you believe will be there supporting your child. All right. The last group of people, not because that's all, but because our time is over. The next group of people are your friends. Come on now. You can have amazing friends that could even stand even closer than family, right? And you know something with your friends, most times, because your friends are the people that you are around a lot, probably because you live in the same environment. Sometimes they are the ones that your children even see, more than your siblings, if your siblings live around and live far away. Or you just have this friend that somehow over the years you have aligned. Remember, with siblings, you don't get to choose them, but with your friends, you get to choose. So chances are you will choose friends that connect with you in so many ways: your values, your belief systems, your convictions, and all of that. So you want, when you have, see, if you're a parent, I don't know why you will have friends, or you'll be in friendships that will not become legacy relationships for your children. I don't know why you should be wasting your time with people that you cannot trust, that when you are not there, they'll be there for your children. So don't just make friends. Do not just make friends. I said so. Make friends that will become legacy relationships for your children. So make friends that your children can be as comfortable with as they are with you. Make friends that when you are not there, you can hit your chest and say, this one will be there for my child. Make friends that when you are not speaking to your child, they can speak the same language that you speak into the ears of your children. Make friends that your children can go to. Make friends that your children can trust. Make friends that have the heart of your children, who love you enough to extend that love to your children. So this kind of friends will become collaborators in your parenting journey. Yes, today, in the future, when you are present and when you are absent, they will always be there for your friends and that for your children. And that's because, as I said at the beginning, your home, literally speaking, hypothetically speaking, in whatever way you want to speak, your home is not enough to raise the kind of child that you should be raising today into this world. Your home is not enough to raise a global citizen, a global citizen that will impact the world. Your home is not enough for your child to see that all that the world is about. You need the right people. You need the right voices in the ears of your children. You need mentors. You need family members who share your values and convictions. You need the people who work with your children that your children connect with, whether they are coaches or teachers. You need those people. You need friends who will become legacy relationships for your children. You need all of these people. Now, you also need to teach your children to make friends, to make or choose their own friends, to be people that can be trustworthy, to choose friends that will hold, that they can grow together, building each other, supporting each other, and all of that. Now, these are the things that we teach, we preach, and we ingrain into the children when they come to us, to the mastermind circle, our peer mentorship and accountability group. We start there by being very practical. We help them build a body system in the mastermind circle where the children begin to build social connection right in the mastermind circle. We pair them up with bodies that they can check on. They begin to check on each other. We want to teach them what it means to build meaningful relationships. We want to teach them what meaningful relationships should look like. We want to teach them what meaningful relationships, right, demand of you, and of course seek of you, and how they support you. So we teach them the how, we show them how, we help them with that first meaningful relationship. We want to teach them how to invest and how to build meaningful relationships themselves, so that they know that they are contributors in those relationships also. So we want to teach them how to collaborate with like minds right from when they are young, so that when they grow older and they begin to build business relationships and connect with people who will become that person that will become their spouse and all of that, it's because the foundation for connection and building relationship was taught intentionally to them at home and in the mastermind circle. So if you have a child between 5 and 10, you can get them on board the mastermind circle. It's such an amazing foundation ground. Our curriculum is solid. Our curriculum was tailored to train and raise children in 10 dimensions, like 10 learning areas. We call them our signature dimensions for learning. We believe that when children are passed through these 10 areas, building them every day throughout the whole year in these 10 areas, and while we are at it, we're helping them to develop executive functioning skill. So every instruction in the mastermind circle, every tool, every task, every lesson in the mastermind circle is tied to one of or more of these dimensions, and it is tailored to build executive functioning skills that can help children learn to navigate the world on their own, because we're raising children who can direct themselves. We're raising children who can lead themselves, children who understand the role that they play in their own lives, children that can lead themselves first. Now, when they learn to lead themselves, then they become true leaders indeed. So, yes, we boldly and proudly say the mastermind is the most solid foundation ground that you can find for your child between 5 and 10. After that foundation, then the child is ready to start moving and making baby steps towards becoming that teenager that is resourceful. Would you like your child to be a part of this super transformational circle? Then get them on board our next cohort. We call it the half year foundation cohort. It begins in January. Okay, the half year foundation cohort is not for a half year, it's actually for 8 good months. Yes, for 8 months, your child is going to be working with us from January all the way to August. Okay, and in those months, we will be doing wonders with the children. Indeed, we will hand you a transformed child at the end of the cohort. Thank you for being with me here today. I trust that you learned one or two things. Let me know in the comment section what your takeaway is and what you will be applying. Which of these which of these collaborators would you be working on getting for your child straight away? Your child needs that person that they can trust. You need to train your child's ears to listen to the right people. Which of them are you going to get on board right away with? All right. My name is Maribel Chima. Yes, and I am the founder of the Mastermind Circle, the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy. Have you read any of my books? Do your children have my books in their library? If your child does not have my books in their library, you're wrong. You have children between 6 and 13, and they are not reading bedtime stories for champions series. They are not reading playtime stories for champions, bedtime stories for champions. I mean, wisdom stories for champions. You're wrong. All right. So we write amazing books packed with stories, conversation starters, lessons, and of course, endless ways of building skills in your children. You want to get them, or you want to get them one or all of our books. We have 12 books altogether as we speak. All right. We also have the Skill Up series. I mean, did I say 12? I mean, 14 books as we speak right now. We have an amazing Skill Up journal that we just created. Beautiful journal, right? Timeless journal. So you can use it and start with journal at any point during the year. Thank you again. If you would like to get any of our resources or like to register your child in the Mastermind Circle, just check at the end of this video or in the comment section, and you will see all the details that you need to order our books or to enroll your child into the next cohort of the Mastermind Circle. Thank you for joining me again. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. God bless you. Thank you. Bye. Bye bye.